swords.
Take this time to consider your past deeds.
Stop asking questions. You had your chance. Let the games begin.
Hello and welcome to Velen's Chosen Episode 12. We're ready to buff your game, and our show exists to help budget players stay competitive on the ladder, and to end every season just a little bit higher than the last, no matter what your card pool.
I have big plans.
Oh, do you?
My gosh. It sounds like Ursula from The Little Mermaid.
I'm gonna play it again. That was hilarious. Okay, that is the Reliquary Seeker.
Oh, nice.
Let's see if we can get it to go.
Oh my god.
That's all you really need right there is a little
Really?
giggle. All right.
Seriously,
So today's
remind
show,
me
we're
of
going to talk through wing number 2. Wing number 2.
Oh, yeah.
So let's just talk about the encounters, like impressions, guys. What would you have? What you got for me?
I just thought it was super fun. Like the
Hey,
normal.
guys, we might want to introduce ourselves first.
Fine.
You know.
I'm like assuming at this point everyone knows who we are.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows. All right. So the Reliquary Seeker herself, Evemartyn.
Hello everyone.
And Andrew, the Tunnel Trog extraordinaire, General Scarvash, Andrew Brown.
Hopefully a little better looking, but not much. So,
Hey, you just got to rule over the Trogs. You don't have to look like them. And then I'm your host, RobMay. I don't know what I am. Probably the guy that gets crackled for 7.
you're the one wearing a hat.
Yeah, Explorer's hat, Mo Thakra.
So
Okay.
someone's got spell damage +1 then?
Yes. I have the unique ability to always give my opponent spell damage +1. Maybe I'm the Moonkin. I don't know.
There you go.
Okay.
Was that a card? That's not a
Yeah,
card.
that was Reliquary Seeker. It's the new 1-drop Warlock card that we talked about last week.
the Moonkin?
Oh, the Moonkin?
No, that
The Moonkin is a new Druid card that's probably releasing Wing 4, I believe.
okay, because I couldn't remember seeing it. I saw it like we got to play with it.
Mhm.
Was it in the class one that
No,
we
we
got to
haven't
play
played with
it?
this card yet.
I saw it in one of the decks I played with. Maybe one of the decks they gave us to play with.
It could be on the Druid thing this week.
And I was
The
looking
Druid
at
class
it going,
challenge.
I have never seen this card before. I don't remember this card.
Yeah, it gives both opponents plus damage, spell damage too.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Okay,
funky.
so what do you guys think of the decks and the strategies around just the regular boss fights?
I got to say, it was pretty easy. I won each one the first time, which usually there's one that trips me up. I got to take a couple goes at, but I got through all of the normal bosses and the class challenges in the first try. So,
Wow.
kind of a easier wing. That may not be everyone's experience, but that was
My
mine.
TV just randomly turned itself on, so I'll be right back.
TVOP.
That's right. What did you think, Rob?
Oh man, I thought it was pretty great. Even though I didn't one-shot everything, I did one-shot the last one, which I guess was giving a lot of people trouble. And I one-shot the class challenges, and I didn't really understand the mechanic for the minecart thing, like right away.
Oh, really?
I like played my first 3 turns as if I would have more mana the next for some
Yeah.
reason, and then I like realized by like turn 4, I was like,
Oh,
I
I'm
can only
not
play
getting
2 cards
more.
a turn. What the heck?
That's funny.
Yeah. I did not realize that you were not going to get more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Mana.
So I was like, oh, I'll just draw all the cards. Oh, cool. There's a wave clear. Maybe I'll get the wave clear every time. And I just didn't. I got wrecked.
It
So I
took me
played
2
that one a
tries to
couple
get that
times.
one, yeah.
It took me less time on Heroic, believe it or not. I just draw better cards. I lucked out. So
So since they give you cards for that one, it is pretty much luck of the draw for the heroic, huh?
they basically, I think they make the RNG on the opponent's side smarter. Like as far as the AI is a little bit smarter, and then the chance of you getting 6 6s and 4 6s is higher. I think that's the only difference that I noticed.
Okay.
Okay, what about first boss, the Trog?
I didn't-
Remind me again, what his ability was. Oh, did it change the mana cost of the minions
increases
and
the
then
mana
change the
cost,
mana
yeah.
cost of spells?
Right.
Right.
I went in with a tempo mage, and it seemed perfect. Because
Yep.
I had an equal amount of spells and an equal amount of minions. So it was like, okay, play minions this turn. Okay, play spells this turn. And everything
Nice.
had like spell synergy. So
Right.
yeah, it was a breeze. It was fun.
Yeah, I don't remember which one I ended up with. I think I did what you did on normal version Eve, but the last boss I did something really silly for Arcadis on normal mode. I made a custom deck for it, even though I probably could have just used a regular one. But I made like my first attempt at like a bolster warrior.
Really?
I think that's
And,
awesome.
And I used a lot of patron synergy cards that did a lot of damage on the board. So like, the 0 cost, deal 1 damage, +2, double taskmasters. I used.
That is smart. I think that would
it
work
was
really
really
well with a
cool.
warrior deck.
Yeah, and like I thought after I beat the regular wing, I was like, oh stink! I probably could have just played my patron warrior, which is a, like virtually 0 legendary deck against the Trog guy because it uses so many weapons to clear the board that weapons are unaffected entirely by the hero power.
'Cause
So
they're
when you
not
have an
spells
awkward
and they're
turn, you
not
just drop a
minions.
weapon.
That's right. That's cool.
So yeah. Also, I think Control Warrior, if you're like a Wallet Warrior, could have been pretty fun to try to down that boss. And
Honestly,
like
the
a hard
third
mode.
one was just kind of so easy that I don't think you have to really make a special deck for it. You just kind of have to have a way to either buff up those guys or
Yeah.
Just a way to take advantage of the fact that your board is flooded. I mean, Power of the Wild's a great card, or
Yeah.
I used a fast druid and that seemed to work really well. I got a couple of minions on the board, but then I could use Savage Roar or Power of the Wild to beef them up.
like I advise that because I used my Tempo Mage again and had absolutely nothing in my deck.
Oh, that
would
wouldn't work.
Clear the board.
But it did. Like I still
okay.
won.
Oh, nice.
I can
He,
tell you what the worst deck's gonna be.
What's that?
He's
For
got
Arcadis
an
is Zoo.
ability that clears
yep.
all of them off of the board, right? You guys see that
Right.
one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh great, now I have place to put minions down because he was filling my entire
Dude.
board with 0 attack creatures.
Man.
Eve,
But yeah.
on that boss, did you do that boss on Heroic yet?
I did none of them on Heroic. Honestly, I looked at the
Okay.
first guy who starts out with 2 Trogs and was like, no, not right now, not today.
Yeah, we actually have 2 weeks for our listeners. You guys have 2 weeks to do this on Heroic.
The next
And
one's not
regular.
coming out for 2 weeks?
Exactly. They said this
Wah.
up front at BlizzCon. So the reasoning behind it was actually because of the holiday.
Right.
So they're probably going to try to fix a lot of the bugs currently that are in the game. Like right now, Unearthed Raptor is crashing the game if you copy too many abilities.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Really?
Faceless Manipulator has a huge bug right now where we encountered this together, Eve. You remember on our Tavern Brawl?
Oh, yeah.
So we played Bolvar. It was like a 8-7 with Divine Shield, and then we played Faceless on it to hopefully win the game. And it gained the Divine Shield, and it was a 2-7 Bolvar. And we're like, what the heck is wrong with Faceless?
Whoa.
So we looked up on Reddit, and I guess everybody's posting like their own Faceless bugs.
Yeah.
So the Faceless doesn't work properly right now, and neither does the Unearthed Raptor.
That
Like the Unearthed
card
Raptor
that
doesn't-
copies
go
your
ahead.
opponent's hero power has not worked for me yet.
Oh, the Sideshow
the
Spell
spell.
Eater.
Yeah.
Yeah, that card's been bugged since TGT.
Yeah. I keep getting it in Brawl, and
Mhm.
every time I've tried to use it, it hasn't worked. So
Yeah.
there's still some bugs they need to work out.
Yeah. It's all good. I think there's them releasing it so quickly, obviously has its catch-alls. So I think Team 5 is going to be on top of it.
Yep.
Hopefully before the holidays, but, they
And
could
all
be
this stuff is
prioritizing
in
it later.
Brawl, so
Are you talking about
I
Arena?
don't think it's on ladder,
Or
right?
Tavern Brawl.
Yeah, Tavern Brawl.
Which,
Sorry.
Which part?
Tavern Brawl.
Like all
Okay.
these places that it's bugged is in Brawls and in Adventures. I don't think these cards are bugged if you're on ladder.
No, they are.
They
Well,
are?
I watched an Unearthed Raptor bugged on ladder. They were trying to copy a Clockwork Gnome to get a spare part off of it, and it didn't work. And they showed 3 separate ladder clips, and it didn't work.
I just played against a Warlock who used a Faceless Manipulator combo to destroy me, so it worked fine with him. So
Yeah.
Yeah, the
It-
Faceless combo is only on really weird interaction targets. Like
Okay,
Bolvar.
okay.
It doesn't
Gotcha.
work. Mm-hmm.
Well, Bolvar's
Because
so
I think that the
frequently
rules changed
used, but-
so much in the Brawl games, the rules change so much, and the adventure games, the rules are twisted around so much that I think some cards just can't figure it out.
Right.
But a lot of these things aren't a problem on ladder, except for, as you say, the Raptor. So
yeah, the Raptor's the only main thing. But okay, so now that we've kind of discussed this, what are the cards that we're getting this week? In case you haven't done the challenges yet.
So from the Trog Master, you're going to get the Tunnel Trog, which, Rob, I can't wait to hear what you think about it since you were hype train crazy last week about it.
Oh, man.
And the
has it lived up to your expectations?
Well, let's let Andrew finish off what he was going to say.
It's the 1/3 for 1, and you get the +1 attack for each overloaded crystal, basically.
I'm hyped. I love this card. I've seen 3 different decks that are using this. Like, you can use this deck in mid-range Shaman. You can use this deck in, frankly, a Control Shaman to have an early game to replace your Zombie Chows. You can use this in Bloodlust Shaman. It's like freaking ridiculous. And Feral Spirits, guys. Feral Spirits is back.
I guess if you play Tunnel Trog on turn 1 and you can coin the Feral Spirit on turn 2, then you don't have anything to play
Totem
on.
Golem on turn 3.
No, because turn 3, then you've got 2 overloaded crystals. You've only got 1 that you can use.
Oh, yeah.
So
I think what you should do is you want to get Feral Spirits, Tunnel Trog, and either a removal spell like Lightning Bolt for turn 2, or a removal or a Totem Golem on turn 2.
I got you.
And then when you're overloaded, you can coin out that, and you have another 2-mana play.
The hardest thing that I find about this card is that you don't really want to overload so early in the game because you want to ramp up. If you've got something like Totem Golem and a Totem Golem, well, then that's great. You've got a 3/3 and 2 3/4s for how much mana did you spend? 4, 5, I guess. So that's a good situation. But most of the time, I don't feel like that's what your hand is going to be. You're going to want to play bigger minions. If you're overloading, you're actually kind of crippling your next turn or something like that.
Yeah, that's also true. So what you like to do actually is you can run Lava Shocks in the deck as just removal spells, and it actually works really well.
Does it?
You actually don't,
okay,
believe it or not, because you can play Tunnel Trog in the late game. That's why Tunnel Trog's so good. It's just like playing a Mana Worm. Like, you can pick up a Mana Worm on turn 5 and just blow up your opponent and have a huge worm. It works. So the Tunnel Trogs actually I've found can work a little bit better. However, I haven't played with it as extensively as I liked, because obviously we've only had like 1 day that it's been out. And I was hype trained last night, not just for this card, because I got into the Overwatch beta. So
congratulations! That's awesome.
I found out that a few other people got in the Overwatch beta that I'm going to play with, like including shout out to Anthony, or Tegomizic, I think is his name, of AIE. And he's got a bunch of guildies that we're going to try to knock out some stuff. And I'll play a lot of Genji.
Get him.
Well, my hope is that they're going to see how this card interacts in Shaman. And then with the next expansion, they're going to add more. I hope they will have a couple more minions that interact somehow with Overload. Because it is such a bad thing right now in Shaman when everyone's playing tempo decks and everyone has a way to kind of increase the tempo of their game. And Shaman is just like, every time they play something cool, they're hamstringing themselves. And I love a lot of the cards in Shaman, and it's such a neat flavor of a class. But just like nobody's playing it.
Now, what do you guys think of, like, okay, this is just my personal opinion. I think that if Blizzard next expansion gives us even a weak card for Shaman, I think the card should be something that is easily a early game or a mid game card. So probably a 1 to 4 1 to 4 cost mana minion that has a battle cry of unlocking so many of the mana crystals. It could even be a flat number like 2.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Because if they did that, guys, like if you think about it, like if it's a flat number, they have the Earth or the Unearthed Elemental card, the 2/6, that does 2 damage with battle cries.
Yeah.
And then you have the Tunnel Trog, and you have the Overload cards that you already want to free up. So this card is almost like the perfect storm. Like if Blizzard releases this card at any point, it's gonna make shamans really, really good.
Yeah, I didn't
and it doesn't
expect...
sound like it would make it too overpowered. It sounds pretty
No,
reasonable.
but what it does is it basically gives you, in essence, it gives you 4 cards that can unlock crystals, and that's really what shamans are lacking at this stage.
I didn't expect for Battlecry Shaman to be a thing, but now that they've got the Unearth Elemental, and I didn't even think about it, Brand Bronzebeard, who we'll talk about later, like, people are really trying to figure out something that might work to bring all of those things together, because even just this one elemental card gave a new archetype, kind of. We'll still see if it...
It's almost a one of in a lot of decks now.
Yeah, the jury's still out on if it'll actually become a competitive deck, but it's cool to see that there's possibility of something there.
Yeah, I've been seeing a few things going around the ladder, like even just simple stuff like Bran into Azure Drake drawing 2 cards, Bran into
So since we're talking about it, let's
Mildred.
just say Bran's Bronzebeard, his ability is Battle Cries trigger twice.
Yes.
So that's what
And he's a
everyone's
2/4 for
trying
3.
to make work, is this cool ability and how you can use it to your advantage to make all Battle Cries echo twice.
And we should...
Do you guys think he's sturdy enough with that 4 health? You guys, what do you think of that?
I mean, it's a high risk, high reward where he can't stay out on the field too long. He's got to kind of stay protected in order for him to really work the way that he should. So
It's just above being taken out by like a Fiery War Axe or by the ice spell that the mage has. So it's not super easy to get rid of right away. You kind of have to put a bit of effort into it. So I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like you got to waste a fireball on it, or trade minions, or Death Spite, or something like that.
Yeah, it's not like going to be easily removed by an early easy removal spell. It's going to be something else. So yeah, I think 4 is just right.
All right, so let's jump into some more cards, and then we'll talk a little bit more strategy. All right, so Eve, what is our Paladin card? Or I'm sorry, what is our Mage card for Boss 1?
The 6/3 for 5. Discover a spell. So this can be, obviously there's no
The
neutral
Ethereal
spells.
Conjurer.
So that would be only mage spells, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So discover a mage spell.
and you know, the bummer about this is that mage spells just aren't very strong. So it's, man, you're just gonna get a bunch of bad cards.
No one's gonna play this.
Man, what a bummer.
Oh, the sarcasm train. Chugga chugga.
No,
And the awesome
obviously.
thing is that you get to choose from 3, right? So it's not going to be like, oh, I got Spellbender. You know, odds are there's going to be something awesome out of it.
So I want to throw an interesting stat at our listeners here. I did some number crunching.
Because that's what Rob likes
I
to do.
think, I believe there is 16 total mage spells.
Okay.
And that also means out of the 16, 8 of them are 3-cost secrets. So if you look at, basically you take 16 with the number 3 because you can discover, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you take 3 out of 16, that's what? That's 1. I want to say it's not 1/8. What is that, Andrew? Help me out. Is that 1/6?
I'm sorry.
I don't know about
Sometimes
Andrew, but don't be asking us to do
yeah,
math.
sometimes I
Okay,
tune
so
out on math.
whatever
I'm
it
sorry.
is it's pretty close to about I want to say it's actually around 60 to 70% that you're going to get at least one of your discover options is going to be a secret. And 4 out of the 8 secrets are good, right? Effigy, Duplicate, Ice Block, and
Mirror Image.
Mirror Image. Okay, now we're not including like Vaporize and what's the other one? Like Ice Barrier, and like there's a few others, but yeah, a Spellbender. But like honestly, the secrets can kind of super surprise your opponent. So like even though this card is frail, you know, any card that's high attack, minimum or low health is going to have a hidden ability of taunt, right? Your opponent's got to deal with it.
Right.
So I think this card is better than a lot of people are giving it credit for, and it has a place in a few decks, but I don't think it's like a staple. I think this is a really good card for players to kind of bridge the gap for their collections, though.
I think
What do you
it's
guys
one of
think
those things where
about this card?
I like that depending on what situation you are in the game, when you play this, you could be like, oh, this is what I need right now. This could help me, you know, fill out the mana curve in my hand, or deal with something that I'm looking at on the board. And it's going to give you 3 choices. And a lot of mage decks just use a lot of spells. So it's not like it's going to be out of place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Andrew, what's the problem with this card?
The body. Come on.
Actually, I think there's a bigger problem than the
6-3.
body.
Really? Did it cost 5?
Yeah, it costs 5.
I mean,
like if you're filling out your curve on turn 5, there's so many good 5-drops this is competing with.
Yeah, I just don't get excited about it. I mean, it's interesting, and for budget players especially, Discover is a mechanic that we talked about a lot last week. Is super helpful for filling in some missing pieces that you might have. But I just don't. This is going to be a threat if your opponent doesn't have a removal spell and has nothing on their board to deal with.
Right.
But other than that, it's just getting the spell, and 5 mana is too much to pay to just get a spell, another spell in your deck.
You're just not able to interact with your opponent's board on turn 5 much.
Yeah.
I do agree with you, Andrew, because now that I'm thinking about it, a lot of the minions that mages play have synergy with spells. And this is just a body. Like, it's going to give you a spell just the same way that, what is it,
But it's a 2-turn spell, basically.
Gives you a spell?
Yeah.
But it's not going to do anything else. The Flame Wakers at least have synergy, and the Mana Warbs have synergy.
Right.
And, their legendary card has synergy.
Yeah,
but this is just basically 6-3. What's the body of the Spellslinger?
It's a 3-4 for 3. That's why it's good.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't just die.
But its downside is it also gives a spell to your opponent, right? So the fact that this discovers a spell, which lets you choose, and doesn't give one to your opponent, it's kind of have to have a downside.
Yeah.
A 3-4 body is standard, though. A 6-3, I mean, I'm trying to think of what to compare this to. A Pit Fighter's a 5-6, I guess, vanilla. So 6-3, you're missing out on quite a bit of stats there. I don't know.
I mean, it's got a good amount of attack, but we always want health over attack.
Yeah. Let's move on. I think we kind of covered it. So let's go to boss 2.
Mine carton.
On cards. Tomb Spider, 3-3 for 4 mana. Discover a beast, and the spider is also a beast.
Now,
I want to put this in all my hunter decks.
Yeah, Eve, you were excited about this card. Have you gotten to try it out yet, or no?
No, I have not.
So jury's still out.
I saw somebody play this recently, and their 3 options were King Crush, Gazrilla, and Malorn, and I just was dying. It was hilarious.
Man.
If it's okay, I want to foreshadow to our email a little bit and say that you could put this, because this is not a hunter card, right?
This is a neutral card.
You could put this in Druid if you're going for a Druid Beast deck.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I've seen some theory crafts on it. I mean, using the Knight of the Wild. That one didn't really get used from TGT, but now with these few more beast cards, there's some interesting things. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. I think this card is just something that's, if anything, at best, this card is what we would call a dark horse. Like, we just don't know. I think this card has just got too many variables that we just aren't aware of yet.
But Unearthed Raptor is very exciting, and everyone's been trying that.
This is a rogue card.
It's a 3-4 for 3, and the battle cry lets it copy a death rattle effect from one of your friendly minions. So,
so it has to be your minion.
Yes,
it has to be your minion.
It can't be something. Okay.
That's why they're able to give it a good body.
Okay. So what have people been trying to copy with it?
Oh my gosh,
everything.
I've seen people play this with Cairn. I've seen people play this with.
So
Sylvanas.
it dies and summons a Cairn.
Well, yeah, no, Sneeds.
Bane,
Come on, Sneeds would be.
Sneeds. I've seen people use this with Anubarak. I've seen people use this with Nerubian eggs, which is insanity.
Oh, wow.
I've seen Amaz play this with Sylvanas and win a game because of it. I've seen...
There's a lot of
Sylvanas.
Things that can happen.
I mean, even if you play this with a leper gnome, it's value. Like,
just let your mind run wild, basically, what you could do with this card.
Exactly. So I really think this card is one of the most underrated cards, because I've been watching people play with this, and it is insane. Like, this single-handedly brings mid-range rogue to the table as being a viable deck on ladder, and I've watched it.
What death rattles are they copying in rogue?
It's not
It's all
necessarily
the same
that they're
ones.
Death Rattle copying everything as much as they're just able to play minions now.
I just mean like what makes
it's
Rogue
usually
better?
Nerubian eggs. I'm actually seeing it's Nerubian eggs.
Because ultimately, I mean, I'm talking about Sneeds, but that you can't pull that off in one turn. Ideally, you want to be able to play something and then immediately copy it. So Nerubian Egg is a very low-cost minion where you can copy the Death Rattle effect and
Haunted
still
Creepers,
play
too.
your Unearth. Yeah, Haunted Creeper, not bad either. So
Right, okay.
Yeah, so like if you play Haunted Creeper and this on turn 5, you've basically got for 5 mana, you have a 1/2, a 3/4, and you have 4 1/1s that are going to pop out. That's a lot of value.
that ain't bad.
That's pretty dang good. And
How does Rogue
if you're
trigger
running
their
Defender of
eggs?
Argus, it's really good. Rogue just runs double abusives. It's really funny.
Because they never had that in their deck before.
Or I guess can
Yeah,
you backstab your own minions? Is that any minion?
so.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I think you can.
that's not
It just
great.
has to be undamaged.
Yeah.
Right? Backstab.
Yeah.
Huh.
Also, no, that's a Paladin card. I'm sorry. Never mind. I was thinking of the card that's got the Death Rattle, damaged Death Rattle minions.
I just think it's kind of weird.
Stratholme Be Purged.
I mean,
It's
Shaman and the
weird.
Mage cards make sense, but the fact that this Rogue card copies a Death
It also
Rattle
can copy
effect.
Belchers.
Oh, well, that's pretty decent. But I'm trying to think of, regular Rogue decks that we've been playing for a while. What Death Rattle cards are in there? Like, just naturally.
So that's exactly what I think a lot of beginner players are asking, right, Eve? Like, wouldn't you say a lot of players are asking that?
Yes. They're saying,
Okay,
where is
so-
this going to fit into a deck I already have? That's what
That's
they're saying.
right. This is the card that actually creates a new deck and not use it in an existing deck. I think that's a misnomer with a lot of new cards this set. So Reno, Bran, Unearthed Raptor, and are cards that you would put into a new deck archetype or create a new deck based off of this. Not necessarily based off of that card, because we all know if you base a whole deck around 2 cards, you normally can't do that.
Except for Patron Warrior.
Yeah.
The reason
that'll-
Patron Warrior works is because the draw engine in Warrior is ridiculous.
But yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, I think maybe that's what Blizzard wants, is for us to let go of our comfortable, we've been playing this forever archetypes and start wrapping our mind around brand new archetypes. But it takes such a long time to
does.
really learn a deck and get comfortable with it and be like, I know this inside and out. And all you want to do is add a cool card to it.
Well,
And make it a little bit better.
Blizzard said they were being intentional about only giving rogues minions, because Rogue has had, ever since Miracle Rogue, I mean, really just the Sharp Sword oil, the oil rogue is all that they've had. So now they're kind of forcing them to think through some things, and Unearthed Raptor is a perfect example where it's a strong card. It doesn't create a deck all on its own, I don't think, but it actually unlocks some potential new thoughts, and a lot of people are trying it out.
I think it's also important to remember that even though we know the draw engine in Warrior is really good with damage minions and Battle Rage and all that and Acolytes, but Rogue and a priest that plays properly with their cards and kind of in the perfect situation have probably the best draw engines in the game currently. Right? And then I guess you could say Freeze Mage. Yeah, like prepping a sprint for 3 is redonkulous.
Drawing 7 cards.
You prep a sprint for 4.
That's an amazing ability in a game.
Yeah,
to be
they
able to
have
draw
so
7
many
cards.
ways to draw cards, and Unearthed Raptor is functions with cards that are specifically Death Rattles, and there's enough of them in the game that I think that you can use. Like, you honestly have 2 Unearthed Rappers, 2 Nerubian Eggs, a couple Defenders of Argus, maybe even Sun Fury Protectors if you want to go that route, and then a couple Haunted Creepers. That's 2, 4, 6 cards that synergize with each other. Like, that's a solid deck right there. Like, there was early on dragon decks that were working that only had 7 total dragons in them. Like, that's what the beauty of having a 30-card deck does.
Now, I have read quite a few blogs about, professionals and people that are sort of playing at a different level, worried about the direction that Hearthstone is going for this very reason. That they feel like we're heading to a minion against minion deck playstyle, and they find that boring. That it's just going to be who's playing the higher drop minion or the better minion on turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, and that it takes all the cool, amazing strategy out whenever something like Patron Warrior gets nerfed. And then you can't have all these big plays. It's just going to be like, I play my 1-drop minion and you play yours, and then I play my 2-drop. And the fact that they're pushing Rogue away from their playstyle, which was like so many spells and very few minions, and they're pushing them towards playing with more minions, that kind of feeds right into their fears of every deck being minions against minions.
But the problem with that I see is that the game could be in a number of different states, and everybody's going to have a problem with it no matter what, right? Whether it's minions, whether it's spells, whether it's combos. I mean, there's literally always a reason to not be satisfied.
Okay.
And I think we're in a state right now where, okay, yeah, people aren't happy with the... because I don't know that we've seen this, maybe unless it was like this at the very beginning. We haven't seen this kind of play style in a while. And people just are uncomfortable with it. But I've been impressed so far how much this adventure has shaken things up. Because
I have been completely floored.
Things are not the same. And they've only released, 10, 12 cards?
Yeah.
I mean,
like, the meta has swung on a weekly basis during this. Like, think about like Blackrock Mountain and stuff. Like, those didn't even swing. Like, the only big swing was like Emperor.
Yeah.
And maybe like when all of the dragon cards were released, then you could start making stuff.
And Emperor was one of those cards where you could just throw it into an existing deck and it would make it better. You wouldn't have to like completely retool the deck.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a tunnel trog, right?
That and Sledge
Put it
Builder
in
too.
everything.
Just throw it in there and it makes it better.
Yeah.
It's like an explosion of creativity. It's great.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
I'll put one more point on this before we go into Boss 3, Arcadis, but my theory is similar to yours, Andrew, but I think that Blizzard has already established that they want the game to be minion interactive with spells in between. But they have a lot of spells in the game already. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's tons of spells in the game. But I think that Blizzard is really moving towards a direction where not all are they trying to just give everyone minions and minion identity of classes, but they're actually trying to get classes into a space where every class has at least 2 to 3 different ways that you can play that one class.
Yeah, no, that's accurate. Yeah.
I think that's exactly what they're going for, right? Like, how many archetypes do we have in Mage right now? We actually have probably close to like 6 total mages you could play.
A lot less for some other classes. Well, if you're going to get really,
you got freeze and tempo. I mean, let's be real.
You got freeze,
okay,
you got
Mage.
tempo, you got Reno Mage, which is like that, and then you got Grinder Mage. You can actually play a Secrets Mage if you really want to. You can play a.
Okay, are we talking
Mage?
about
That's 6.
are we talking about the possibilities? Or are we talking about what's actually competitive and useful on the ladder? Because
There's
those are
about
very
3,
different
I would
There's
say.
4 competitive ones. Like, that's Mech Mage, Tempo, Reno, Grinder Mage, and Freeze.
Okay,
That's 4.
all right, I'll give you that.
Okay, Reno is good. Like, Kibler embarrassed Freeze Mages with his deck.
I would
My
say
idea is that it makes it easier for new people to play. Because the spells are a little more complicated for new players to wrap their minds around of when to play them and how to play them. But minions are a lot easier for them to figure out. You play them on the turn that you have the mana enough for them to play. So maybe leaning towards adding more minions overall to all of the decks makes it a little more new user-friendly. That's what I think.
Sure.
I would agree with that. Okay, let's go to Boss 3. Eve? Or actually, we'll go with Andrew, because Andrew loves his Fierce Monkeys.
I do. Yeah, so Arcadis started with the Fierce Monkey, Warrior, Minion, Beast, 3/4 for 3, and he has Taunt, and that's it. And he looks fierce, as all get out.
I've seen a couple decks that are literally like Taunt on turn 2, Taunt on turn 3, Taunt on turn 4, Taunt on turn 5.
What surprised me is that I've seen it being run in a lot of Control Warrior decks, which I didn't expect. I can't figure out what they
3-drop.
I can't figure out what they replaced it with, but it seems to be at least somewhat effective.
Call me crazy, but I think you could replace Shield Block with this.
Shield Block.
Because a lot of Control Warriors were only running 1.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I had an idea, and now tell me if I'm crazy.
Tell us your idea.
If you used Tomb Spider, you would almost be guaranteed to discover Fierce Monkey if you played it in a warrior deck.
You would be 4 times more likely to find a Fierce Monkey than any other beast.
Yeah, because warrior, I don't think they have any other class-specific beast cards. I could be wrong.
Correct.
This is the only one.
So yeah. You would almost be guaranteed to get a Pierce Monkey.
I feel like the only reason they put Beast on there was because they were like,
because it was a monkey.
Let's give Web Spinner an extra
another target.
Something, yeah. I don't know.
Okay, Reliquary Seeker. 1/1 for 1 Warlock minion. Battle Cry with 6 friendly minions gain +4/+4.
So that's the one that we
talked about this
heard
extensively
at the beginning
already.
of the show? That's what
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
This is basically a 1 mana mini mountain giant. Or not mountain, sea giant.
Yeah. And we talked about it that Sea Giant's probably better, but that's an interesting card. If you get it out of a Dark Peddler,
just to balance out Peddler.
Yeah, not bad.
So
Okay,
how
we talked
much?
about this a lot already.
If you have 6 friendly minions on the board, how much would Sea Giant cost?
6 less than 10.
Yeah, so 4. So it'd be a 4 cost 8/8.
And Sea Giant is better because it procs off of both sides of the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Sea Giant's better.
Yeah. Sea Giant it will work with whatever your situation is. Reliquary Seeker is all or nothing. So that's the hard thing.
It's a win more card.
Yeah.
It's okay. It works. I think that they have to give a little bit more cards to balance out the 1-drop summoner cards like the Unearthed Raptor, or not the Unearthed Raptor, it's the other one.
Sure.
The 2-cost Raptor or 3-cost Raptor that summons a 1-drop minion. Mounted Raptor, there we go.
Mountain Raptor, card. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Excavated Needle.
1 second. So if Reliquary Seeker is a 1/1 for 1, then say you have that, what is it, the Summoning Portal or a Summoning Stone out, and you cast a 1-cost spell, there's a chance you'll get this?
Which it would be a 1/1.
Yeah, so. It would suck.
Because it doesn't trigger Battle Cries.
Yeah. That would be bad.
Okay, like Excavated Evil.
Yeah, Priest spell. 5 cost, 3 damage to all minions, and when you play it, you shuffle it into your opponent's deck. I'm just going to say, this is a weird card.
I like this card.
Do you? Tell me about
it. I beat Arcadis with this card. Or not Arcadis. I beat Heroic Scarvash with this card.
Okay.
That's a good card to put in there. Because all of his Tunnel Trogs are not...
Yep.
Yeah, his Tunnel Trogs would die.
Okay, I will say this. I have read and watched a lot of card reviews on this. But I'll keep this very brief. This card is good against aggro.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you think. And the reason is, not only can you clear the board in a control deck or even a mid-range priest deck or dragon priest, OTK, whatever, you can clear the board. You can give them a card that is anti-synergistic with their deck. Now, this deck would be much better if you could guarantee that this card is going to be in the next, 3 draws of your opponent.
Sure. Because
then they're this card denies your opponent draw effectively.
They're drawing something they don't want to use.
Exactly. The only problem would be is if this is a mid-range deck that's getting this card. So I think this is a medium risk with a potential of a very high reward.
It's a Hellfire, right?
Except it's better in one sense, right? Like, so instead of Hellfire being 4 mana and damaging both heroes, it's costed 1 more mana with a weird effect to give it to your opponent, and it doesn't damage heroes.
Yeah, I like it too. If you're playing it against an aggro deck, they're not going to want to play it. They're going to destroy all their minions, which defeats the purpose of the way they play. Yeah.
It slows down the meta. Single-handedly.
It's really cool.
Cool. Yep. Okay. We already talked about Brand's Bronzebeard. Let's go into class challenges, and we'll move on.
Okay.
So these are pretty fun. Druid, you played Mounted Raptor against Scarvash.
I thought you were just going to say, these are pretty fun. Okay, now let's keep moving.
No. But we could do that.
That's all we're going to say about that. And moving on.
No, Mounted Raptor is too cool to not talk about.
Too cool for school.
It's a small piloted Shredder,
They also said something
right?
funny about this card. They said it's kind of like piloted Shredder. And contrary to popular belief, even though the card art doesn't show a rider, Mounted Raptor is being ridden by a 1-drop minion.
You just can't see it because it's so small.
You just can't see it.
I like it.
No. Like, you can't see it in the card art. And, like, that's something that Broad or Yongwoo put in their Twitter. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so
because
Mounted
if you
Raptor is
drew
a
one
beast.
thing, then it would be like, well, if you got something else out of it, then the card art wouldn't work, right?
It's hard to find Raptor art that's good that actually has a rider on it, to be honest. So what do you guys think of this card?
Summon a 1. Yeah, I like it.
I've seen a lot of people playing it. I don't know that it changes things too much, you know?
It kind of helps aggro Druid a little bit more.
Yeah.
Go up the curve.
I did see it in some of that. So I just don't know how much it changes the game. It's a good tool, but it doesn't seem like it's, been this meta shifting card necessarily.
Yeah, I feel like most of the cards they're giving us are cards that are either immediately game changing or are cards that are like another tool that will happen to be in your toolbox later.
Sure.
I'm hoping that they're looking at the classes that are already really strong and going, we can give them options, but we're not going to give them anything game changing because Druid is already really strong, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is kind of good for, you want to get your combo out, and this is going to almost guarantee there's going to be a
stickier
body on the board, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So
it's like a worse Harvest Golem, or it could be better, right? That's kind of how you want to look at this card. It's like Harvest Golem.
Yeah.
Okay, Paladin card. Eve, what's the Paladin card?
Keeper of Oldemon. 3/4 for 4. Battle cry is set a minion to 3/3, which you can do to your minions or your enemy's minions.
Mm-hmm. This card is great, but what's the only drawback, Andrew?
It's a card.
And it costs how much?
Yeah, I know. We talked last week. The 4-cost slot is already plugged up quite a bit. So I still have not seen this card actually played. Even when I went through the class challenge, all of that, never ran into it. So still waiting.
I want to say I saw it in Brawl. Arcadis Heroic deck.
I saw it when I was in Brawl.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had it in their deck or discovered it and decided to use it, so I've seen it.
I'll tell you this, that even though it's clogged up the 4 slot, it basically has given Paladins another 4-drop to put in their, what they call Highlander style. So if you hear somebody say Highlander deck, that means it's a 1 of every single card in the deck.
To make Reno work?
So yeah, to make Reno work. I've seen Reno decks with Keeper.
There you go. That's not a bad idea.
Okay, that's all the cards, guys, for this week.
One of your weapons and one of your consecrations.
Yep, yeah. 1 Consecrate, 1 Kings, 1 True Silver, 1 Alderman.
No, that's not bad.
All right. So just so you guys are aware, just like last week, I'm going to be doing deck guides. And all of the deck guides are good decks for not only regular bosses, but especially heroics.
Yeah.
This week, I have actually increased the hard mode even more.
Whoa.
Okay, let me tell you this. So the good news for this wing for a lot of free-to-play players is not my guides, but actually that the second boss you don't have to craft cards for. You don't even have to bring a deck. You can just do it, right?
You just have to be lucky.
You just have to be lucky and play it. Okay, so I actually wrote a little bit of a guide on Reddit, and it's in the show notes, so you can know how to do it. All right. Somebody has, if you search the Reddit community under the Hearthstone subreddit, you're gonna find somebody that beat all of the normal bosses this wing with classic cards and LOE only cards. So pretty cool. Classic cards being non-classic packs. I mean, like these are like basic cards. Basic cards.
Yeah.
So you can beat all of these bosses on normal with basic cards and LOE cards, and then you can actually I beat Arcadis with an entire deck of only using 2 epic cards.
Wow.
As my most expensive cards.
That's encouraging.
I beat Scarvash with 3 epic cards, and one of them you don't necessarily need. So Scarvash, you need 2 Doomsayers, and Arcadis, you need 2 Swords of Justice, and the Swords of Justice are even optional.
I think I just have 1 Sword of Justice. Because I was thinking probably you'd only use 1 in a deck, so I think I dusted my other one.
Okay. That's good logic. But for these decks, I'll tell you the lists here. Heroic Scarvash sucks. He makes your minions and your spells cost 11 mana.
So basically unplayable.
Every other turn.
Does Aviana counter that or no?
I have not tested that.
Okay. I don't have her, but
it's too late game because you'll beat, if you have a good deck, you should beat Scarvash by around turn 10. With this deck. I believe I beat him around turn 10 to a 12. And I did it with a Healing Priest. So it's very easy. Double Light Wells, Thoughtsteel, Velen's Chosen, Auchenai's Holy Champions, Excavated Evil, and Holy Novas and Doomsayers.
Does he kill your light wells if you put them out? Or does he ignore them?
It depends. Scarvash is a Trog, so you have to think about like what they're thinking in the lore. So I was thinking, if it's 0 cost, he'll play Confuse. But if he doesn't, then it'll stay. But I ran him out of cards really fast. So what I would say, if you're trying to copy this deck, you can. I put a bunch of options of cards that you can swap out. This card is super versatile for Scarvash. Here's your tips that you want to look at besides synergistic cards with the deck. Every odd card should be a spell, and every even mana card should be a minion. Because on turn 1, he has 2 Trogs on the board. So turn 1, maybe not necessarily you want a 1-cost card, but you want odd-costed spell cards because you're able to play spells on odd turns, and you're able to play minions on even turns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's another weird logic thing. You kind of have to think through. It's like, okay, so first turn, I can play a spell. Second turn, I can play minions. Third turn, I can play spells, etc. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, for Arcadis, the only difference between this boss and the other one as far as functionality, obviously all these bosses have 45 health, so 30 health, 15 armor, is Arcadis gives you a 0-2, and he gives himself a 0-5.
Ooh.
Which isn't good.
Which is not good. I will say that I had a moment where I almost wet myself.
Wow.
In this fight.
Takes a true man to admit
I
that.
had a deck synergized around buffing my own minions with the Sword of Justice and using, Direwolf Alpha, Lance Carriers, and Defender of Argus to buff my own minions.
Not Raid Leader?
No, Raid Leader's good though. I will say that. Raid Leader is a good card, and I probably should have put that on my guide.
Stormwind Champion.
Frostwolf Grunt is amazing.
Oh, that would be good, wouldn't it?
So, because that's a turn 5, and he's just going to be like a 9/9. Sea Giant's good too. But I didn't put him in the deck because he's an epic.
Right. We're trying to keep this low cost for our listeners.
Exactly. So let me tell you this. The moment where I almost peed myself was because the opponent has an ability that deals damage based off of how many of the little stone giants die. My board had like 4 of them. His board had like 3 or 4 of them. And I guess this spell doubles. So like the first one, it does 1 damage for everyone. I think on Heroic, it does like 2 or 3 times the amount that you have of the things on the board. And he didn't hit a minion. He hit me in the face for 15 with that card. It scared the bejeebus out of me.
That's
I was
not
like,
fun.
oh crap.
Yeah.
I need to start trading more. So trade a lot. Make sure his minions are always dead. Run a mind control tech. I ran a Kezan Mystic to play around his Sacred Child. And I actually, believe it or not, I played with 2 epics in my list to win, but the epics were just for kicks and giggles. It was Gormok and Bolvar.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I replaced those with Stampeding Kodos. Those cards are insane.
Did you do a warrior deck then? What?
This is a paladin.
Oh, a paladin. Okay.
I used a warrior on the regular one with patron.
Because I was going to think priests do have cards that steal your opponent's minions, but he probably buffs them up pretty quickly.
He'll buff them too large. Yeah, actually.
Too large to steal. Okay.
Yes, and I will tell you the way you win this game is actually by filling the board and dropping a Flesh-Eating Ghoul. Flesh-Eating Ghoul, for those that do not know, is a basic card.
Oh yeah.
That whenever a minion dies, you gain 1 attack, and it's a 2/3 for 3.
I remember you were going crazy. So you trade your whole board,
and then I hit him for like 18.
Oh, that's good. Oh my gosh, awesome. All these decks like coming back that use cards that nobody's using right now.
Let me tell you guys, I was very proud of my deck building skills this week. We'll just put it at that.
Well done.
Because these decks are good.
Well, I'm going to profit off of them because I'm just going to copy what you got, and
I'll put one caveat for the budget heroic Scarvash list. I don't think that this is under ideal circumstances for you to play. I think that if you look at the cards that are substitutions, you may find better success, because I was on 6 HP when I beat him. It was really close. But
I feel like the heroic battles are just like that, though. You win by the seat of your pants. You're not going to win by a large margin.
I will say that the key card that I actually won the game with is one card called NotRobMay Weblord that minions with Battlecry cost 2 more.
That one's a sneaky card.
And a lot of cards that Scarvash use have Battlecries.
Oh,
and it was
really
then that's
good.
Awesome.
So
and I also forgot combos with like Wild Pyromancer and Flash Heal, Wild Pyromancer, Light of the Naru I didn't even have in the deck, and that would make it much easier. Power Word Glory and Circle of Healing, as well as even just a simple Mana Wraith would mess him up. So yeah, and a Tournament Medic I just didn't put in there because I thought it was too gimmicky, but that could work. You could do a Wombo Combo Priest like Eve was saying. So this deck is really versatile. I will say that another big key that helped me win was Refreshment Vendor and Sunwalker. Those are other really big cards that help.
Sunwalker is the taunt with Divine Shield.
6 mana, right? 6 mana, 4/5 taunt Divine Shield. Okay, that's the decks that I used, and I put the link in the show notes for you guys to enjoy. So let's read some emails.
Let's.
I'm always excited when we get emails.
Could you read Violet Fires for us, Eve?
Sure. Do they want to be called Violet Fire?
I think for the people that we don't know that email on the show, it's probably safe to do that.
Okay. Greetings, chosen ones. First of all, thanks for making a podcast that helps all levels of Hearthstone lovers up their game. You're welcome. I really enjoy your discussions, and I'm hoping you can help me. Is it possible to create a Druid Beast deck that can hold its own on the ladder? I've tried various combinations with the Druid cards so far with no luck. If you know of any way to make this work, I'd love to hear your input. Thanks again. So this is what I was foreshadowing towards. I was kind of looking, as soon as I read this email earlier in the week, for some kind of thing that like a pro was playing or somebody had put together. And then I looked at all the cards that we're getting and going, oh, wow, actually, they're giving us a bunch of tools in these adventures for something that would really help even more to make a Druid Beast work. So it's almost like Blizzard was listening to you in your desire to make a Druid Beast.
That's right.
And it's like, here, have a bunch of cards. So yeah.
Okay, so Violet Fire, the first thing I will tell you when you're trying to build any deck, not just a Beast Druid deck, is what are your win conditions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Andrew, can you help her out? What is a good win condition for Beast Druid?
I mean, we've talked about Druid, like pretty much any budget Druid deck is going to be one off of flooding the board with minions and then using Savage Roar, Power of the Wild, something to really take them out. So when I mean, the Beast synergies allow you to get, well, there's no really, they each do something different. I mean, Night of the Wild.
You get more bang for your buck, right?
Well, yeah, but that's with anything. There's not really a Wild Walker adds health. Druid of the Fang, you get a high cost. It'll, there's just not really a.
The one that gives you the 7/7.
I will tell you that this deck shouldn't be synergized around the beasts per se, but rather using the beasts as a piece to get to tokens in order to Savage Roar down like a Bloodlust Shaman, or Savage Roar down with maybe a Savage Combatant on the board and get an additional couple points of damage or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you want lots of token cards, not just beast cards.
Sure.
But I will say if you are running a Beast Druid deck, a single-handed win condition can actually be to outlast your opponent on the board, or not outlast, to better your board state over your opponent, because I think it does it really well with like the mounted Raptor, giving you the 1-drop minion if it dies, it's sticky. It gives you the capability of having a 2/1 with charge or a 3/2 with stealth. That's the Druid of the Saber. You have Druid of the Claw, so just a good minion in any Druid deck. And then you can play snakes. It always has to be snakes.
You have to have snakes.
Yeah. So that's the card that everyone likes to play with Beast Druid. I don't think you need the Druid of the whatever, the Wild or whatever. The
Night of the Wild, yeah.
Night of the Wild, yeah.
No.
I would say put a Tomb Spider in there.
Sure.
I would say it's fine to put a one of those in there.
It's a beast and you discover a beast. So
the problem with it is it's just not big enough for me.
Well, the thing is that you can discover class-specific beasts, right? And then if you look at all the beasts that are in the Druid stack.
Yeah, the problem I have with this, Eve, is most of the beasts in Druid are formed beasts, meaning that you have to have a non-beast card that makes a beast.
Right, that's true. So which of their cards are actually beasts already? Is it just
the
Savage
Raptor.
Combatant?
It's the Raptor. Savage Combatant and the Raptor, I think, are it.
Oh, because the other ones just turn into a beast, but they don't start out as a beast. Yeah, that hampers it a little bit.
It does. Including Druid of the Claw, Druid of the Saber, Druid of
the
Flame, and Druid of the Fang. So yeah, that's our answer for your question. I hope you enjoy it and try to make some sort of token Druid work.
And hey, if you do get a deck list, send it back to us. I'd love to see what you make.
You can always message us on Twitter. We'll send you a deck list that maybe worked for us, and boom, there you go.
Yeah, I like these kind of themed decks, like Mech Mage and Beast Hunter, and those are always fun to play. So have fun making that, and I hope it works well.
All right, we need to wrap up with a crazy game story that I was actually, ironically, on the other side of listening to this happen. And this also, I'll read this one. This comes from Jamie. He's like, well, crazy game nights at the Tag Podcast game group. And on this night, I was playing the Pirate's Treasure. I was rogue, and I grabbed a Deathwing on the first turn that we were trying to play. We managed to eke out to turn 10, and in the middle of some friendly BM, I misclicked, lost control of my fingers, I missed my glee for the I will be your death, and misclicked to add my dagger up hero power. And with that, all hope was lost, and I tilted the universe upside down. I lost to an inner fire as only 1 damage was required.
Oh, yikes.
This was single-handedly the one thing that made me laugh the most this week. Oh. This was hysterical.
Misclicks
our
this is why you don't
2 legendaries on board. But this is a friendly match, so it was fine.
Okay.
Brian was losing his giblets.
Just like, this is me going, see, this is why you don't BM. Don't BM.
There you go.
This is exactly why you BM. Because I was like, I will be your death, Deathwing. Grrr. That would be so cool. But Jamie had to click it 1 too many times and spam it, because in friendly matches you can spam emotes. You don't have a restriction on them.
You don't have a cooldown. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So Andrew, can you tell us about our iTunes and Stitcher reviews this week?
Yeah, this week we didn't get any, but that's okay. We wanted to take some time to tell you that if you are under the understanding of thinking that this show is Rob and Eve and Andrew's show, you would actually be incorrect. You see, this show is all of our effort, and we do work hard to make sure that you got something that's helpful and good. There you go. We do work hard to get this out for you guys, but we want you to get involved also. And man, like Whitney and Jamie sending in their emails and stuff, we wanted to give you some ways that you can help and get involved really with making this show something that can be added to everything else that is awesome with the world. So
everything is awesome.
So here's some quick ideas for you. Reviewing the show on iTunes helps us get more exposure and helps other people know. Sharing with a friend who might enjoy the show, that's a very direct, and nothing goes further than a personal recommendation. The third is talk to us on Twitter. We'll show you that in a few minutes here. But we're really active on there to tweet back and have conversations with you guys. Number 4 is support us on Patreon. You can even just follow us on there, and that's great. You can play Hearthstone with us. We've got our, I think we have each of our gamer tags somewhere.
I can put them in the show notes for you.
So feel free to add us, and we're happy to jump into a game and watch you, stuff like that. Eve wants friends to play Destiny with. So
Games of Destiny.
Keep doing that.
I do, but send me a little message with your game invite, because
so she knows.
Just the other day I completely beat somebody in a PvP match, and then they extended me a friend invite, and I was like, I don't know if this is a friendly invite or if you just want to be my friend so you can yell at me.
Yeah.
Because I just beat you, so that's suspicious. So if you send me a little message that's like, I have listened to you on Valen's Chosen or something, just some kind of detail, then I will absolutely accept your friend invite.
That's great.
Tweet at us, Facebook us.
Yeah.
There you go. And I'm always happy to offer some coaching with some arena. Other than just watching the YouTube videos I've got out there, if you want to let me know. And email us if you have any questions, you want us to check out a deck list that you are trying out, or if you have a fun story. Always love reporting that. So that's a quick rundown of ways that you can make this your show, not just our show.
Yeah, so ways that you can interact with us. I think Eve's got those for you.
Do I? Yes, I do. Hold on. Twitter, Velen's Podcast. Facebook, Velen's Chosen Podcast. Email at us at valenschosenpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Patreon. You can search for us on there. We have our website, valenschosen.posthaven.com. We're on iTunes, RSS, and Stitcher. And our esports hero code is still valid. Is it valid forever?
It is valid forever.
Awesome.
Nice.
For 5,000 coins, Velen's Chosen 15.
And by the way, I just got to throw in that I did my first esports hero match this past week and annihilated a guy who was a legend player, and that was definitely a feel good. Now, it was because I had Reno Jackson in both decks, and I played them both, and it had just come out, and I'm pretty sure that he was not happy with me at all, but I won the game fair and square, so it's fine.
That is awesome.
But that was a lot of fun. So if you haven't tried that out, go check it out. It really is cool, and it'll help you be a better player playing against people with some skin in the game.
Yeah. Okay, so that's it for the show. You can find me at Instagram and Twitter at NotRob. You can find my Facebook online digital portfolio for photos and for designs at NotRobMedia. My BattleNet is Twik, TWIK #1198. You can find me on Steam to play some Rocket League at Sir Twik, or you can hit me up on BattleNet for some Overwatch or some Heroes of the Storm, but I'll be playing some Overwatch this weekend because I got it in the beta.
Ooh,
we got
Overwatch.
my comedy podcast is another goober show that I do with some friends. It's just really fun. If you're just looking for another podcast that's non-Hearthstone to fill up your day with humor, that's on RSS and Stitcher and iTunes at MAYZ podcast, and Twitter it's just MAYZ_podcast. We call it the maze because it's like getting lost in a corn maze where you just goof around, and it doesn't matter if you get out or not. You can just cheat the system and run.
Because who doesn't like goofing around in a corn maze?
I mean, corn mazes are fun, dude.
If you like this kind of humor, you will like the maze.
That's right.
All right, Andrew, where can people find you at, man?
You can find me on Twitter at AndrewIsLiving, or find my arena tips on YouTube at BinacaFreak, or you can find me on BattleNet, AndrewIsLive, number 1973.
Very, very cool. And Eve, what about you?
I'm on Twitter at Finnovar, FHINNOVARR, and on Twitch. I haven't streamed in a while because I've been sick, but I will try and get back on that. I had a lot of fun. As Evemartyn, EVEMARTYN. Rob and I also both have Shogal. So
Shogal.
If you do not have Shogal and you really want Shogal, then send us a message and we will share Shogal with you.
I'm 2 wins away from getting 2,200 gold, I might add.
Wait, do you get it just by logging in?
You get Shogal by playing with somebody that has it in 2 games. And then if you win 4 games by playing Shogal with another player who does not have Shogal, then you will get 2,200 gold.
Oh, well, I don't
Rob
have
and I both
Shogal,
have it
so
because we bought the
virtual ticket.
Virtual ticket. So
right.
Anyone who went to BlizzCon or bought the virtual ticket automatically got Shogal.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only way to pass him on, because they wanted it to be this way, is to play with people who don't have him.
They also gave him to a bunch of random accounts too, because my friend Josh got it as well.
Just randomly handed them out as well, just in case that wasn't enough people to spread Shogal around.
Yeah, just in case.
Just in case people weren't sharing.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it for the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget those iTunes reviews. We would love them so much.
And hey,
thank you so much for listening.
And hey, just in case you were going to be sad that we won't have a Thanksgiving episode, we are going to have a Thanksgiving episode. So while you're chowing down on all those treats, we'll be hanging out with you. We won't be talking about a new week for the adventure, unfortunately, but we're going to talk about some budget decks. It'll be a good time.
We're going to be talking about new decks that people are making out of all the new cards, which is super exciting.
And because we know it's Thanksgiving break for all of our American podcast enthusiasts, we are releasing 2 days early so that you're going to get it on Wednesday afternoon before you do all of your travels for Thanksgiving. Boom. And if you were going out Black Friday shopping, you can throw some earbuds in and listen to this while you're waiting in line. Shabam.
There you go. Perfect.
Throwing out elbows and knees.
So you can be scanning for coupons or playing Hearthstone in line and listening to our show and being like, I am on top of the world.
That's right.
And in Canada, it'll just be another week. because
So to
we already
close
have
out-
our
Sorry.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, sorry, Eve. So to close out the show, we're going to end on a good note with our good man, my friend and yours, Reno Jackson, saying, "We're gonna be rich."
Yeah.
See you guys.
Later.
Bye.
Take this time to consider your past deeds.
Stop asking questions. You had your chance. Did I miss it?
We're ready to buff your game, and our show exists to help the budget players stay competitive on the ladder. And we help them every... I gotta start over, sorry.
Relax, get comfortable.
I'm so distracted with the hype of this soundbite. Okay.